Hey students, I am Sham sir. I welcome you in my YouTube channel. I will focus on the poetic devices, figures of speeches used in the poem Song of the Open Road. This poem is written by famous American poet, essayist and journalist Walt Whitman. The first and the important figure of speech used by Walt Whitman is free verse. Walt Whitman is called master of free verse. This poem is written in the form of free verse. Do you know, students, what is meant by free verse? Free verse is a poetry that does not rhyme or have a regular rhythm. Free verse is a literary device that is free from limitations of regular meter or rhythm, does not rhyme with fixed forms, and still it provides an artistic expression. In this way, the poet can give his own shape to the poem as he desires. Means there are no limitations to the poet to write the poem in a meter or in a scheme, in any pattern. He is free to write as he wish. The next figure of speech is metaphor. The poet has used it very beautifully and very intelligently. If you see the title itself is metaphor. Song of the Open Road. Students, open road means it's not a simple road we generally see, but it is a road of life, journey of life. Here, simple road and journey of life is implicitly means indirectly compared. You know, there is again a metaphor, it is called simile. In simile there is direct comparison. There is direct comparison in two things, but in metaphor there is indirect comparison. So it is a little bit difficult to recognize a metaphor. Let us see some examples of metaphor. First is, afoot and light-hearted I take to the open road. Here the open road is indirectly or implicitly compared to the journey of life. Second example which occurs in the poem is, done with the indoor complaints, libraries, curriculum criticism. Here the word libraries is implicitly or indirectly compared to the education, knowledge of books. The next figure of speech is paradox. There is only one example, but the example is very effectively used. The example is, still here I carry my old delicious burdens. Students, how can burdens be delicious? How can burdens be delicious? It seems absurd or unlikely, but it is true, because here burdens means memories of the dear and near ones of the poet. Burdens means sweet memories or memories of the family members. And we know that how sweet they are. So the poet says that all delicious burdens. Here the expression contains opposite idea that make it seem absurd or unlikely, although it may be true. Okay. Next is alliteration. Alliteration, there are many examples of alliteration in the poem. Let us have a look. Alliteration means where the sound is repeated in the line. Look at the first example. The long brown path before me leading wherever I choose. In long L and in leading L. Long leading. The sound of L is pleasingly repeated. Here the sound, not the word. Here the sound is repeated for greater effect. Look at the second example. Henceforth I whimper no more, postpone no more, need nothing. In this sentence, N, the sound of N, in no, need, nothing. In 3 words, the sound of N is pleasingly repeated. It adds to the beauty of the poem. It adds to the melody, rhythm of the poem. Next example is done with indoor complaints, libraries and querulous criticism. If you see here, complaints and criticism, the sound C is repeated here. The sound of C is repeated pleasingly. Next example is I know they are very well where they are. I know they are very well where they are. The sound of W is pleasingly repeated. Where, well and where. In where, well and where. Fifth is I know they suffice for those who belongs to them. Here the sound of T. In they, those, them. The sound of T is pleasingly repeated. And the sixth example, last example of alliteration is I carry them, men and women, I carry them with me wherever I go. Here the sound of M and W are repeated pleasingly. M in men and me and W in women, with, wherever. And the next figure of speech is repetition. Repetition. When the words are repeated for greater effect in the poetic line, it is called repetition. Let us have a look to the examples. The first example is henceforth I ask not for good fortune, I myself am good fortune. Students, if you look carefully, then you will find that good fortune, these words are repeated twice. So it is repetition. It is a very simple one. You can recognize it very easily. Whenever you find the repetition of words, it is called repetition. It is called repetition. Henceforth I whimper no more, postpone no more, need nothing. Here you can easily find out the repeated words. No more, no more. So it is a repetition. I know they are very well where they are. Here they are. The words are repeated. Sometimes whenever our friends repeat anything, we said, hey, why are you repeating it? Don't repeat it. Means when we use the same word again and again, it is called repetition. It's so easy. I carry them, men and women, I carry them with me wherever I go. Here again you can find easily, I carry them, I carry them. This line is repeated. Here the words have been repeated for greater effect. The words have been repeated for greater effect. To make it more emphatic, to make it more beautiful, the words have been repeated. Students, figures of speech means ornaments used by the poet to make the poem more beautiful, more attractive. more magical as a woman uses ornaments to make herself beautiful. In the same way, poet uses ornaments of figures of speech to make the poem more beautiful, attractive. More beautiful or attractive. So these are the figures of speeches used by the poet in our first poem, Song of the Open Road, written by a famous poet, Walt Whitman. I think you have understood all the things. Students, if you like my video, then don't forget to share it. Don't forget to subscribe it. So I will again bring some new videos for you. Thank you.